I often get asked, why did you go vegan? Is it hard? How did you do it? Why? When did you start? I'm gonna answer all of that right now, right here. So keep watching. Alright, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. My name is Debbie, for those that don't know. Welcome to my new subscribers, and keep on subscribing because we are all about growth on this channel. Yes, indeed. 2020 is gonna be a year of growth. Alright, so today I'll be talking and sharing about my vegan journey so far. Because I feel like it's a lifelong thing where you're constantly going to be learning and growing about different things. So I am gonna just briefly just talk about what it's been like for me so far, but more so when did I start, why did I become vegan, how did I make that transition, and like what can I tell people that are thinking about it or are starting or want to start. Yeah, all of those things I am going to talk about. I officially started being vegan summer of 2016, like somewhere June, July, August, that time. And before that, I was a vegetarian for about 2 years, and prior to that, I was eating meat. Fast forward to today, I've been a vegan for about 4 years. It's gonna be 4 years in like the summer. So yeah, 4 years strong, baby. So next question that I often get asked is, why did I switch to a plant-based diet? Okay, honestly, it was a personal choice, and for me, it wasn't like a deep reason. I was just inspired, and even before that, like I knew like back in high school that I wanted to kind of move towards like completely just plant-based, but it wasn't until I got exposed to more knowledge on like an animal-based diet and its effect on the body as well as the environment, and just like reading books, having people come present at my church, also watching a couple documentaries which you've probably heard of, one of them called Forks Over Knives, and then recently, like much later, like a couple years ago, I watched What the Health. But even just with watching Forks Over Knives, I remember after watching it, I was like, oh my goodness, I so want to be vegan now, like that is the way to go. And then like a couple weeks after watching the video, like my hype was like, meh. It went back down, and I continued being vegetarian at the time when I was watching it. Also just hearing more about, again, like plant-based diet, and hearing other people share their stories and their experience when they switched over, and just on top of like all the other things that I heard about. For me, when I tied everything together, it just made sense for me even more to move towards being vegan. And so that's when I made that conscious decision and put in the effort towards becoming vegan. Like when you hear someone else share their story, it really makes you want to do it even more. So yeah, it was through inspiration, exposure of knowledge, and just wanting to do it, wanting to challenge myself. And so this kind of leads me into the how did I become vegan? How was that transition for me? So I will say that it definitely was a process. First and foremost, it took about like a year. Okay, I will even say 2 years, because when I was vegetarian, I was already thinking that I want to be fully plant-based. The whole transition was a process. It wasn't something that happened overnight for me. And the way that I went about it was obviously like it was a bit easier because I had already cut out meat, and I was now, slowly in the process of cutting out like the dairy products. So the first thing that I completely did away with was milk. It wasn't hard for me. Like that one wasn't a hard one because I don't know, after a while, like I didn't even enjoy drinking milk like that. But obviously, like when it comes to like pastries and stuff like that, like there was still milk involved, but that was like different because I couldn't really see it and I wasn't physically like, drinking it. So it was like it was different. But in that sense, I was still like consuming like dairy products and stuff. So like stopping to drink milk was the first thing that happened in my transition. So I substituted it with soy milk at the time before I was introduced to almond milk. And when I was introduced to almond milk, I didn't like the taste. I hated the taste and I thought it was gross, and I didn't know how I was ever going to like such a milk. Fast forward to today, almond milk is my go-to. I don't even drink soy milk anymore. I solely do almond milk, and surprisingly, I'm even doing unsweetened now, which is like wild to me because the younger me 4 years ago would have been like, what? What? Unsweetened? There's no type of sugar? No thanks. But here we are. People change, people grow, and never say never. The next thing that I cut out was eggs, which that wasn't hard for me. Again, like if it was in pastries and stuff, then I would still like consume it. But just physically like making eggs and consuming eggs, I started moving away from that and did away with that. So the last thing for me to give up was cheese, and I don't know why, but it was hard. Like it was really hard. For those of you that know, like cheese is a very like huge part of the standard American diet. Like it's included in a lot of things, and at the time, like cheese was bae. Like I would put that stuff on everything. Like on bread, on pasta, on rice and beans, and like wherever you go, you have cheese in your sandwich. It was everywhere, so it was hard to give up cheese, but eventually I did do it. It did happen. And even at the time when I knew what cheese does to your body and how it stays in your system for like even like a couple weeks after you've consumed it, it just stays. It takes forever to digest, basically. Even after knowing that, it was still hard for me to let go of cheese. So that was a hard one, but eventually I did, and like it happened. The transition for me was the way that the method that I used in kind of achieving my goals was I took it as challenging myself, but then in the end, I wanted to turn it into a lifestyle. So I wanted to make the changes permanent and lifelong. So I took it one day at a time and just, baby steps. I would tell myself that, so for example, I would be like, okay, this week I'm gonna go 3 days without any dairy. So 3 days I'll be completely plant-based. And if I survive those 3 days, and I would reward myself with another challenge. So I'd be like, okay, I did those 3 days. Now let me see if I can do 4 days and 5 days. And at any given time, if I did like fail, I would just start up again the next day. That's how I went about it. And I did this until the desire and the craving for those things was gone, like no longer there. And it took a while. Like I would have a lot of days where it would be hard and a struggle and I would get tempted, but it's just remembering my end goal and what I'm working towards.